Frank, how old were you when you decided you were going to go to film school?
Well, I didn't actually go to film school first. So I'm going to go back as far as 7. I got brought to Manhattan by my parents, and I was from suburbia Long Island. And I remember walking down Times Square, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Like smoke coming out of the sidewalks, people, with boom boxes, just all that activity and energy. And I realized, okay, I got to get out of my small town and end up in New York City. So when the time came to pick a college, I was like, I'm going to New York. I'm like, that seems like the coolest place on the planet. And it's like only 2 hours away from where I grew up. And I applied to NYU. At the time, I didn't know movie making was an actual occupation. I love movies. I was from a very business background family. So my sister said, oh, go for business. I go, okay, I'll apply for business. And I got into the business school. And I got there my first day to my dorm, got out of a cab, and there were students with film cameras making movies. And I was like, I didn't know I could do that. I love movies. So I quickly enrolled in a film class. And I think it was my first semester. And it was called Film Now. I had this amazing teacher named Nick Tanis. And we would see movies. It was a Thursday night class. You'd see movies. And all week you'd see shorts by the filmmaker, and then you'd see their feature film. So we'd see like shorts from Godard, and then we'd see Breathless, and we'd see like all the workings that went into the way the director came to make his movie, and we'd study different movies like it or different genres. But the one moment that I think did it for me was I was 17, 18. I had not seen It's a Wonderful Life by Frank Capra, and this teacher, Nick Tanis, said, I'm going to show the movie tonight, and then if anybody wants to stick around, it was Thursday night, there was no class on Friday in college, so everybody got drunk Thursday night. He said, if anyone wants to stick around, I'm going to go through the movie with a flashlight and tell you how the director did certain things. So we watched the movie. It's the first time I'd seen it, and Frank Capra, one of my favorite filmmakers, has been since that day. It's a Wonderful Life just touched me, moved me, was blown away. And then when the teacher said, well, anybody wants to stick around, I'll show you why a director made certain decisions. I thought, a person made decisions to make me feel this way? Literally, it was that early on, in that I think when you grow up, when I did, you didn't think about, there wasn't as much behind the scenes making of the movies. So you just went to see a movie. So suddenly this whole idea of a person was behind, making me feel all these very strong emotions that I felt like, what a great story, a great storyteller. I sat through the class and I couldn't fathom how this man was a genius and could do this, thanks to this teacher, Nick Tanis. And I thought, oh my God, I have to figure out how to do this. And that was it. I just switched full on into filmmaking and was obsessed from that day on to be able to try to touch people. And I thought, there's no way I could do this in that moment. But I'm like, but if there's any small chance, I have to try.
Did you see any parallels between It's a Wonderful Life and then growing up? Was it, Staten Island, Long Island? Where did you grow up again?
Oh,
Staten
Shirley,
Island?
Long Island.
Shirley, okay.
Yeah.
Is that near, I don't know.
Shirley's like a
Bay
little
Shore.
blue-collar town. It's funny because it was far enough out that people didn't commute to New York City unless they went to a concert. And a lot of people would just go to a concert and get back on the train. I pretty quickly was aware that that's the coolest city in the world, I think. So let me explore. So I was going into New York City at 15, 16, going, this is great, exploring. And then, that's why I ended up at NYU to kind of, I just knew there was more to learn about life and that New York City would be the backdrop where I would do that.
Did you see parallels between your own life and It's a Wonderful Life, in that he didn't want to be stuck working in this small town and he wanted more, there was more adventure he wanted?
I didn't at the time see that. I think it grew on me over time. But the bigger thing about that movie that always stayed with me was just, he spent his life being a good person and being generous, and he was at the point to literally kill himself. And through realizing how much he affected everyone, it made his life worthwhile. And I thought, if a movie can just make you in an hour and a half kind of live through a person's experience, to have such a big change of heart and thought about his whole life, it's like, what a powerful piece of art, what a powerful storytelling, that it could actually change somebody's life, and you walk out of the theater being like, I'm going to be more generous. I'm not going to count every penny that comes in or goes out. And so that power is what did it. I wasn't so much the small town thing. Maybe subconsciously now that you're saying it, it seems really apparent.